What is going on, my fellow champions of the realm? I know it's been a little while, right? I know it's been a little while, but today we're going to be going over 5 tips, right? That I use all the time, and I think you should use to rank up in Paladins, right? So I know you guys, you guys want to, hit GM, want to hit Masters, want to hit Diamond. Maybe you just want to go up a rank from where you're at currently, right? I think these tips will help you no matter your skill level. So if you're interested in that, man, definitely stay tuned and listen to these awesome tips, right? So, tip number 1, right? We're going to start from, I would say, the least important, and we're going to make our way up to the most important, right? But the tip number 1 I can give you is play with friends. If you're platinum below, right? Play with as many people as you want, right? And this is not a way for me to tell you like, oh, just play in a stack so you just win, right? But it's more so just like, since you're able to, man, just enjoy it, man. Enjoy playing with your friends. Communicate, have fun. It will help you build good habits, right? Because if you're playing with people and you guys are all trying, once you get to the points where you can't do that anymore, as long as you keep doing that with your teammates, sometimes they'll communicate, sometimes they won't. But it will help you build good habits, right? So playing with your friends, it's fun, as well as you guys can all try, and you know that everybody has the same goal of just trying to win, trying to get better. Once you get into like diamond and stuff, obviously you won't be able to like 5-stack anymore, but still like queuing with somebody is always great. That's just one less teammate you have to worry about doing something dumb, because at the end of the day, if you duel with somebody who has the same goal when it comes to I want to win, I want to get better, right? There should be no issue, right? And another thing when it comes to playing in a duo, right? I think the best duo to play in, I think at all times, is a tank and a DPS player. Preferably an off tank and a DPS player, because you guys are able to control so much of the game, right? As the person who's playing the DPS, right, you get to dish out the damage, right? You get to secure the kills, and the off tank can not only help you create space, right, but can also contest the point if needed, allowing you to, as a duo, control as much of the game as possible, without like feeling like you can't do enough. Like as a support, anybody can, you can play super well as a support, but you can only control so much compared to as a tank. You can contest, you can frag, you can create space, right? So on to tip number 4, which kind of goes hand in hand with what I said with number 5. Is communicate with your team. This just doesn't mean in game, it doesn't mean VGS, right? When you're in the draft lobby, if you are a tank player and you can't play DPS, let your team know. If you're a DPS player and you're really bad at tank, let your team know. Sometimes you still gotta fill, right? But as long as you can communicate with your team what you're good at, what you're bad at, right? As well as when you're in game, communicating things that are important, right, to the best of your ability, as well as just also making sure that your teammates' mental stays calm and everything, right? Communication is huge. If you ever watch me play the game, man, I try my best to communicate and rank the whole game. I'll IGL if I have to. If somebody starts being, like rude or toxic, I'll try to calm the situation if I can, because at the end of the day, we're all playing to have fun and stuff like that, right? So there's no need to be a meanie, right? So communication is huge, not only in draft, in game, but yeah. For the next tip, right? Tip number 3, right? Know at least 2 roles, man. If you're a tank player, learn DPS. Or if you're a tank player, also you could learn support, right? But know 2 roles, right? Because you being flexible is going to increase your chances of winning. For example, if no one is flexible on your team and you get 5 players who all play tank, you're probably gonna lose that game because you don't have a DPS player or a support player. Yeah, you guys can play them, but you're probably going to struggle, right? So by you knowing 2 roles, you increase the chance of your team being more balanced. For example, I primarily play tank and support, but since I've played the game for so long, I can play DPS as well. But my 2 best roles that I will perform the best on will be tank and support, right? So that's what I bring to the team. And if I need a DPS, I can. But I usually let my team know, hey, I prefer to tank and support, but I can DPS if I have to, right? Boom. Number 2, this is where the tips start getting more into the, I guess, like the higher mental / rank, right? Have a mental checklist, right? This was a tip that was given to me actually by a pro player by the name of Dosups, right? He kind of taught me that the way that I used to think about the game was very one-dimensional, right? And he helped me figure out how to think at a higher level, right? So typically you'll pick a character. For example, let's just say you pick Barrick, right? And you're playing him as a main tank, and you're going into the game. The mindset I would have was, I'm Barrick. I play around point. I contest when I have to, and I fight the enemy main tank. Yeah, and I knew if I had a winning or losing matchup based on the character, right? But what he told me was, okay, well that's cool, right? But like, who's gonna get ult first between you and the enemy tank, right? Do you need to get dismounts as a tank? Um, Based on the enemy's comp, are you gonna have to use certain CDs a little earlier than you normally would? An example, if you're playing a Nara, typically you want to wall first before you DR, because if you DR, right, and you then try to wall after your DR is done, generals can lift you to a point to where you're sticking out above your wall. That could get you killed, right? So instead of using, your DR first, your wall, and then when you need to run away, you can DR so that he can't lift you and punish you for trying to reset, right? So that's the thing. And then like, if you're Barrack and you know that there's a ruckus on the enemy team, and he obviously Dome is a way that you can counter his ult, especially if he like dives mid, right? You can think about that. Hey, like I can use Dome for this, right? Or I should save Dome for this specific purpose and things like that, right? And then knowing, especially once you get into the higher ranks, you're going to start playing against similar people all the time, right? So if I'm playing against a tank player that I know, let's just use Mage Monkey for an example, right? Mage Monkey, great tank player, right? Typically, I'd say that he is more on the aggressive side. So let's say that, and then there's another tank I could use for an example would be Dusk, King Dustnor. He's more passive, right? So the way that I have to play against him compared to Mage Monkey, I have to switch it up, right? I can't play the same because, they play differently, So that's another thing. So once you get higher in the ranks and you start seeing the same people, you can start learning habits and like their chant pools and things like that. So you can, that mental checklist can, pop in there as well, right? Other than that, just knowing rollouts and things like that. Just think about what you're gonna do and what you're gonna need to do before the game starts. So when the game starts, you can do less thinking and more reacting. All right, and then on to the final tip, right? VOD review. This is the most important thing that I can possibly say. Either you can replay the games after you play them, but sometimes that might not work based off of your rank and stuff like that, right? Because I know that they only really save diamond and above matches by itself. If you're under diamond, you'd have to have somebody spectate for the match to even get saved. But just record your games if you could do it, right? And then look over your games and be very critical with yourself. Stop blaming your teammates for you losing, because no one plays perfect. You can always improve, right? There's going to be games where your teammates are going to be terrible and you're going to lose. There's going to be games where you're just way better than the enemy team and you're going to win. And there's going to be a good portion of games where every decision you make is going to matter. So when you VOD review, you want to improve so that in those games, right, you can make sure that you're winning because you're playing smarter, you're playing better, because you're reviewing your games, and the mistakes that you're making, you're fixing them. And as well, if you don't know how to VOD review, you can always hit up people like me, self-promote, that, are good at coaching, or anybody else, whether it's, me or maybe one of your friends that are a higher rank, right? And ask them their opinions. Hey, like, what do you think I should do here, right? And things like that, and just learn, Obviously, take everybody's opinion with a grain of salt, right? Just because someone tells you that what you're doing is blatantly wrong doesn't always mean that it is. Even when I say stuff, I always tell people, take it with a grain of salt, man. I know what I'm talking about, but sometimes my opinion might change after I play, for a little while, or I change something, or I try something new, right? So, but VOD reviewing is very, very, very good. That is probably the way that I improved the most. I spent a lot of nights just watching my games. What can I do better? What do I need to improve on? What's a mistake that I constantly make, right? And things like that, as well as also learning players' habits, right? And if they're aggressive, or if they're passive, or if they're scared to take certain fights, right? And things like that. You know what I'm saying? So those are my 5 tips for you to rank up as well as get better, right? So if you want to become a better player, man, definitely apply these tips, and I promise you, you will start to see improvement. Don't give up, man. Everything is a journey, and everything that is worth something doesn't come easy. So you definitely got to put in the time, and man, just get after it. Alrighty, guys. So we're at that point in the video, right? We're at the end, right? If you enjoy my content, please leave a like. Don't be afraid to comment about any opinions, or if you have any other tips that players might find useful. If you want to keep up to date with me and my channel, definitely hit the sub button and press that little noti thing so you can know every time that I post a video, so you don't gotta miss out on your favorite Yag mains videos, right? Alright, I love you guys so much. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out!